Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news this Friday morning. Hope you're all doing well. We've got lots to get into this morning. We've got Paul Scholes talking about Casemiro. We've got Ten Hag talking about his defence and Cristiano Ronaldo. There's also a transfer update on Jude Bellingham. But what I want to get into straight away is this comment, which I think is absolutely fantastic, which came from Eric Ten Hag last night talking about to MUTV about his plans on the international break. And there was a story that I was humming and hawing. I was literally going, shall I talk about this on the United Stand? Yesterday there was a story that Manchester United are going to give Eric Ten Hag £70 million to spend in January, and if Ronaldo leaves he'll get £100 million in January. And I was like, I don't know whether I want to talk about that. But then Ten Hag, in his own mouth, with his own words, spoke about the January transfer window, and I thought, actually, there's probably something in this, so let's talk about it. Seizo is a member who's been a member for 13 months, and he says, I hope everyone's having a great day. It's Friday. It's Friday. The weekend's nearly here. Obviously, no Man United game at the weekend because it's been postponed, but there is Premier League football. I will be doing that football watch-alongs this weekend. I'm doing Man City Wolves tomorrow and Arsenal Brighton Sunday. So, yeah, looking forward to it. But on United stuff, lots to talk about as well. So look, let's have a look at what Eric Ten Hag said last night. He said about his international break plans, we'll have many meetings. We have to improve the structure in and around the club. We also look to the window in January or next summer already, but also to improve our way of play by making plans. So let's focus on the last little bit, because the top bit, I'm actually speaking to someone this afternoon, so probably going to cover that on the 8 o'clock show tonight. Don't forget, Friday night, 8 o'clock, bit of a chilled out vibe. If I could play music, I would do. Probably have a couple of drinks. Got a nice little gift to some of you. Hint what that might be. So you need to be tuning in at 8 o'clock. You might be one of the lucky ones, or should we say 50 of the lucky ones. We will also look to the window. So we will also look to the window in January or next summer already, but also to improve our way of play by making plans. That's the key bit I want to talk about here. So, and I've got a little surprise for you this morning as well. I'll tell you about that in a minute as well. So that's the key bit. The international break, I think, is twofold for Eric Ten Hag. One is the style of play, and we'll talk about what he's talking about there in a moment, about how many players he's going to be left behind with during the international break and what he wants to do with those. So obviously, you know, I suspect the playing style of things, Eric Ten Hag is going to be looking at how we've played in the first few weeks of the season, what's coming up in October before the World Cup, and, you know, strategizing and analysing what's coming and what's gone before and learning the lessons and working hard on that. But more importantly, this is something that I spoke about before. The bit where he said, we also want to look at the window in January or next summer already. Now, that is big news. This is not in the newspaper. This is not a credible United outlet or a not credible United outlet. This is not somebody who's rung up on the phone and told us something. Nuke, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. This is the manager of Manchester United publicly saying that he wants to look at the window in January and he wants to look at the window next summer. And what this is all about is basically, remember back in May when Eric Ten Hag became the manager, and we targeted people like De Jong and Timber and Nunez and Malacia and Dumfries and Eriksen, and, you know, a lot of people in the press quite rightly said it's another player that he's either managed before or is an Eredivisie player. He's going for those sort of players. And remember, we spoke about it on the channel a couple of times, and we said the reason he's doing that is because the scouting reports he's been given by Man United are terrible. United were scouting for players in the summer from probably this time last year. Certainly from January. They were, you know, Calvin Phillips was mentioned. I mean, Akanji was mentioned. It's funny that both of them have gone to Man City, by the way, because they were both players that United were looking at, as was Alvarez. So, you know, some of those players may well have worked out quite well at Manchester United. But basically, Eric Ten Hag got the scouting reports and was like, these are not players that I want. Maybe they weren't bad players, but they're not players that suit me. And therefore, effectively, what happened is, the scouting department, head of recruitment, whatever you want to call it, director of football, they gave Eric Ten Hag their thoughts on who should be Man United players to target last summer. And he went, no, they're not right. These players, let's go for these players. So what Eric Ten Hag's talking about the January transfer window and next summer is, we need to be looking at what we need in that team. Whether it's a right back, another striker, whatever, we need to, goalkeeper maybe, we need to look at those positions now in mid-September, and we need to discuss about it now in mid-September about whether we're going to move for those players in January, or more realistically, are we going to move for them in summer? And also, I want a list of players that I want you to come to me with 6 or 7 right backs that really fit about what I think, and I want to be talking about this in a month's time when you've got me some. So it's about scouting, and this is what Ten Hag did not have this summer. He needs to have these conversations in the international break so that the scouts go out across Europe and across the world and across the Premier League and across England and come back to him with reports on players of his liking. So it could be as simple as, look, I want a right back like Denzel Dumfries and I want him in January, or if not, I want him in the summer. Go out, scout around Europe, scout around the world and find me solutions. World Cup, maybe there. So this is really important, and it's really good, and it's really clever, and it's really logical from Ten Hag to be saying these things publicly, because I feel that we're still learning about Erik Ten Hag, but with Ralf Rangnick, whether you liked him or not, and I did, he was so communicative with the fans. There was no stone unturned. We knew what was going on at Man United. He said we need open heart surgery, we need 10 players. He was very, very open, and we knew what was going on. And I like that style. And I don't know whether Ten Hag's picked up on that or whether it's his style anyway. But by saying on the international break, we're going to be talking about transfers for next summer and in January, we as fans know Ten Hag wants more signings. And we as fans know that Ten Hag is having those conversations with the club and sending the scouts out to go and find them, which is absolutely fantastic. And I suppose the question is, what might he be looking at? More reinforcements are needed, definitely the Alchemist. I completely agree with that. Bring in Bernardo Silva. I don't think we're going to get him. But, when I look at United last night and I look at the team and I go, good result. We needed that. I can already see that. I can already see 5 or 6 players that need to still come in, and I think let the media, let the rivals, let them moan. That United team needs major surgery. If you go with what Rangnick said and what many of you said, that we need a whole new team, we're only halfway there. We are only halfway there. We've bought 5 players, one of which was a free transfer, so we need another 5, and we do, and the areas I'd be looking at, and I don't know what Ten Hag's going to do, but if I was Ten Hag, I would look what Ten Hag said last night about the defence. I said this in my match reaction. I hadn't heard what Ten Hag had said, and if you listen to my match reaction from last night, I said, I guarantee you Ten Hag will publicly praise that defence, because they are getting us the results at the moment. They are so good. They are so good. And not only did he praise the defence, he also said that Rafael Varane is the leader and the organiser, which is something I've been saying and many of you have been saying for ages. I think Martinez is probably edging it on praise, but that's because Varane's a world-class centre-back. You almost expect it of him. Martinez has stepped into the Premier League and done fantastically well. And I can just say on Martinez as well, I said it on Twitter this morning, all these experts, and I'm not going to name them because you know who they are, all these experts that came out and told that Martinez wasn't good enough and Martinez was too small. They're not experts. They're experts like that. Just because they played football and they're on massive contracts with major media outlets, football is a-changing. You can find decent football opinion on Twitter from somebody who just watches football. They could be 14, they could be 40. They don't need to have had England caps or won a Premier League title. I think so many experts are absolutely out of touch. To have sat there publicly or written it publicly that Martinez was going to get exposed because he's 5'9" completely exposes their lack of knowledge of the modern football game. They still think Pulis and Allardyce are managing teams pumping long balls into the box. How many times? Look, we've got Cristiano Ronaldo up front and we moan about the lack of quality crosses into the box. Not many teams do it anymore. There aren't many teams who whip crosses into the box. The only time Martinez might get exposed is on a corner or a set piece, at which time you've got Ronaldo, you've got Varane, you've got McTominay, you've got Casemiro, all who are good in the air anyway. So this betrays total lack of knowledge from so-called experts about the modern game when they talk about, wait till he comes up against the big striker. Well, we've already played Ivan Toney. There ain't that many teams that do it. And, Haaland doesn't win loads of headers. He's stretching his feet out for a lot of them. So I just think they've been exposed there really, really badly. And, what makes me laugh is that they went in on Martinez knowing... And also, they knew nothing about Martinez, did they? Let's be honest, they knew nothing about Martinez. They didn't watch Eredivisie, and they probably didn't watch Ajax in the Champions League. They knew nothing about him. They saw this small player. They were living in the 80s, and they went, oh, he's too small. He's going to get exposed by the Wimbledon tactics or the Stoke tactics. And it hasn't actually happened, has it? We need to improve our crossing for Ronaldo, says Majek. So, yeah, and I think that they chose to go after Martinez's height after like one game. And yet they've been watching Harry Maguire for 3 years and never said anything about his lack of pace, his lack of ability to read the game, his lack of his total unsuitability for the modern football of a high line. None of that gets mentioned by these pundits, but they go after somebody for height. Heightists, that's what they are. Heightists. Anyway, back to reality. Ten Hag spoke about Varane and his leadership and organisation skills, which I think was brilliant from Ten Hag to do that. But getting back on point and on this brilliant comment that Ten Hag came out with last night about January transfers and planning for January and planning for the summer. I don't know whether United are going to buy players in January. I don't know that there's money there to spend in January. But what I do know is that this is a work in progress. And Glazers Out is something that was sung superbly last night by fans that had travelled to Moldova, and it keeps happening, and it's fantastic because it's just keeping that message going that United want change, this fan base want change. I keep saying we've got the best away support I think we've got the best away support in the world. We've definitely got the best away support in the Premier League, and again, they proved it time after time after time. But my point is that whoever's in charge of United, they can't just stop spending money. This team needs more. And the reason I was mentioning the defence is, if Varane needs a rest or Martinez gets injured or other way round, you're bringing Lindelof or Maguire in. Look at Liverpool. I know they get a lot of injuries, but if Van Dijk needs a rest, you can play Matip, Konate or Gomez. They're all pretty much, all right, different levels, but they're all mobile. They can all play the way that Klopp wants to play. I remember watching Liverpool a few years ago. I think it was a Carabao Cup game, and you didn't know the name of any of them, and they beat a really good side because they played in the same way that Klopp plays. It doesn't matter who comes into the team, they play the same way. And this is really important. If Ten Hag gets this team playing the way he wants to play, some of his backup players can't do it. So straight away, Wan-Bissaka can't do what Dalot does. I think Shaw can do what Malacia does, but, Maguire and Lindelof can't do what Martinez and Maguire does. So straight away, if you lose Dalot, Martinez or Varane, you're bringing in three players who can't play the way that Ten Hag wants to play. They are players that need reinforcement. That's where you've got to spend money. You need another centre-back, or you need two really, but you need another centre-back that can come in and play the same way that Martinez and Varane can, the high line, the intensity. Same in the midfield. I mean, fortunately, it looks like with Casemiro and McTominay, we're all right this season. Eriksen comes out of that team. Who the bloody hell's going to do that role? I'm hopeful of Donny, but, I still think we need the De Jong. Bruno, he comes out of the team. Who does that role? Really? I mean, people thought, can Donny do that role? We're a lightweight up front as well. We are lightweight up front. So you can see the 4 or 5 players that Ten Hag still needs to sign. And it's great that he's talking about that, because whether the money gets released to do it or not, we do need to do it. If you want to compete with the best, you've got to be able to bring in players into your system, into the structure. And that's what needs to happen at Manchester United. So I think this is what Erik Ten Hag is talking about. He's talking about, what are we going to do in January? What is the plan for next summer? Because I look at this team. Vardiel's a good player. I think he's going to... is he not going to Chelsea, Vardiel? Did that deal not get agreed for next summer? Do you think Bay could have done that, says Ben? For whatever reason, I don't think Eric Bay is the man. But in my opinion, we do need another goalkeeper. Whether De Gea is the number one or not, we need another goalkeeper. I mean, Dubravka's not going to be the answer, and Tom Heaton's not the answer, and I don't think Dean Henderson's the answer. So we need another goalkeeper. We definitely need a right back. We definitely need another centre back. Will Luke Shaw sign a new contract long term? We might need another left back. We definitely need another midfielder. We definitely need another striker. So that's 5 straight away, easily. So when Ten Hag's talking about plans for January transfer window in the summer, I've got to 5 players straight away without talking about nice to haves. So there is a lot that needs to do. I love Ten Hag's comments about Ronaldo last night, says Major. Yeah, so what did he say about Ronaldo last night? I don't know whether I've got the quote for you. I probably do. Yeah, let's go. So he said, Ronaldo needed that goal. Many times he came close, but he wanted that so much. We're happy for him, and the team wanted to bring him a goal. You know that Cristiano will score a penalty. He also said that, he's working hard. He's committed. He's totally committed to the team. He's totally committed to the club. He's working hard. More fitness equals more goals. And I think this really, again, was something from Ten Hag last night that really pleased me, and I'm sure it will please many of you, because I must admit, I watched Ronaldo last night, and I at the end of it, I think I gave him a 6.5. He got his goal, but I did, even as a massive Ronaldo fan, I did watch that game last night and go, there's something missing with Ronaldo. There really is something definitely missing. And the interesting thing is that the manager has basically told us what that thing is. And the thing is fitness. And that could be the simple explanation. You're never going to get me sat here saying that Ronaldo's finished. Look, some people are sat on the beach at 37. Some people are sat in a suit doing BT Sports or Sky at 37. I get that. But this is one of the greatest, fittest footballers that's ever played the game. I don't think Ronaldo's finished. But he's not there yet this season. And I think Ten Hag has explained why, because he said it last night. He's working hard. He's committed. With more fitness, there'll be more goals. And he's right. He's just not sharp. That's the problem with Ronaldo. He's still not sharp. And some people are confusing it with, he's dusted, he's finished, he's fell off, he's 37. I don't think he has. And I think Ten Hag has probably just given us the explanation. He needs what Casemiro needs. He needs more game time. He needs more time. Casemiro did not have a pre-season with us. He didn't even have a start of the season with us. Ronaldo did not have a pre-season, and I think it's visibly clear that Ronaldo's just not up to pace at the moment. And it's great that the manager stood there saying that he's totally committed. Ronaldo, he's working really hard, and with more fitness, become more goals. And also, I think what he's talking, you could see that. When Ten Hag's talking about Ronaldo scoring that goal and he needed that goal, we've all seen the frustration from Ronaldo over the last few weeks. Not negative frustration with his teammates, but frustration. He's wanted that goal. And scoring last night, hopefully, it visibly did put a smile on his face. He goes off to Portugal now. I'm really hoping that he'll play all the games that Portugal have got to play. I think they've got 2. Hopefully he'll score some goals for them. It's match fitness. He's got to start building up for that World Cup. We've got a huge October. I'm expecting to see in October a different Ronaldo to what we've seen in the last couple of weeks, which I don't think it's been a bad Ronaldo, but he's not there. He's not sharp yet. And it's great that Ten Hag's talking about that, because some people are confusing it with he's fell off and he's finished, and he definitely hasn't. And it was interesting what Paul Scholes said about Casemiro as well. I don't know whether you heard what Scholes he said, but he basically said, Casemiro surprised me in the game last night. I've always felt that Kroos and Modric were the players that could pass, but he was quite impressed with Casemiro's passing range. He felt that Casemiro was just a destroyer, a breaker up of the play, and he was quite impressed with his passing range, which, to be honest with you, I tweeted this last night. I don't think people, again, I feel like there's a certain level of, there's obsessives about football who will delve deeper than anything, and then there's people who just watch it for enjoyment and don't really delve that deep at all. Nothing wrong with that. But with Casemiro, I said this on Twitter last night, it's almost like people don't understand what he is. Like, he's not going to run past 3 players with the ball. He's not going to play defence splitting passes between the lines. His job is what he did in the second half yesterday. He sits in front of the defence, he protects the defence, he breaks up the play, he's very, very good at it, and when he gets the ball, he feeds Eriksen or he feeds the fullbacks. That's what he does. That is his job. He is the quintessential centre defensive midfielder. That is what he is. So it's great when Scholes is talking about how impressed he is with, he was impressed with his passing. He, again, is a player that's not fully sharp. I still think McTominay will start against Man City in a couple of weeks over Casemiro. That could change. I think Casemiro is getting closer. I think probably for the last couple of weeks, if you'd asked me how close Casemiro is to starting, I'd say McTominay's there and Casemiro's there. I think after the last week, he's probably about there. He's not quite there yet. Maybe on international duty, he'll go past it, but I still think McTominay's just there. But I suspect by end of October, it will be Casemiro. But fair play to McTominay for, making it a contest. Ronaldo isn't finished. He's still one of the best in the world, even at his age. Also, don't let up on the Glazers. Glazers out, says Butterpants. Interesting as well, I just want to say, we've got a video coming out today on the members section. We do one on Friday. It's exclusively for the members who we're really grateful that they support the channel. You get your badge next to your name and you get exclusive content. The video we're doing today is a video I've been looking forward to doing for a long time. It's an analysis of David De Gea compared to last season with the first few games under Erik Ten Hag. And the difference is really, really interesting. Really interesting because we're still getting these clips of David De Gea can't do this, he can't do that. But the improvement already after, 2 months under Ten Hag is really visibly different compared to what he was doing last year, especially around passing. And we also throw in Edison, Alisson, Lloris and Henderson. And the interesting thing is, and not a lot of people might know this, I'll give you one little glimpse here. So this is from Y-Scout. David De Gea is doing 6.5 long passes per game with a success rate of 66%. Dean Henderson is doing 13.7 long passes per game with a success rate of 50%. Basically, at Forest, they're playing long ball out from the back a lot. It's crazy. So, well worth a watch on the members. It'll be out for lunchtime. So, if you're a member, make sure you watch it. You can join by clicking the join button there. What else do we want to talk about? Ten Hag also spoke about the international break and said that 90% of the squad will be on international duty. So, for him, it's a chance to really start planning for a game every 3 days in October. And obviously the players that are staying behind, he can work on them with things. And you know what? There are some players that are staying behind. I mean, off the top of my head, get in the chat and let me know. Sancho's going to be behind. Donny's going to be behind. Martial's going to be behind. Rashford's going to be behind. De Gea's going to be behind. That's, straight away, there's 5 players there that, you can work on De Gea, keep improving him, passing out from the back, etc. There's a lot of work you can work. I mean, I think that's a godsend. I really, really do. De Gea needs to improve a lot from what he's been doing for the last 2 years. And as I said on the members video, you can see he's already improving. But 2 weeks working with him, I think that's brilliant for Ten Hag. It's great for Donny. It's really good for Donny. I mean, it's sad that he won't be going to the World Cup, but, it's a great opportunity for Donny. Sancho, great opportunity for him. Martial and Rashford, opportunity to get fit again. So I'm trying to think of other players that aren't going to be on international duty, but those 5, really good opportunity to, improve over the break with some really good training sessions. Ronaldo isn't finished, says Majak. You can still see that amazing movement. Missing pre-season and lacking confidence is an issue. Like Erik Ten Hag said, he will be ready soon. Thank you for that. Jack C, thanks for the chat, super chat there. I can't think who else isn't going to be there. Alanga may well have been called up for Sweden. I'm not too sure. But, there's 5 there. There's 5 there that you can definitely get to work with. And as Ten Hag said, there are so many games coming up in October. We've got 9 games in October and 4 games in the first 10 days of November. We've got 13 games in about 6 weeks. And then the World Cup starts. So it's going to be... you know what, actually... It's going to be really hectic from Christmas to the end of the season. As we know, we've already got 2 games postponed. And if we don't finish top of the Europa League games, that's another 2 games we've got to play. So it's going to be, and got the FA Cup, the latter stages of the Carabao Cup. It's going to be ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous from Boxing Day to the end of the season. And we know that. But I actually think the next stage between October and the World Cup will define our season and define many people's seasons, because those games are so relentless. If you hit a bit of bad form or you hit a bit of good form, it's going to define your season. If you pick up injuries, it's going to be so important. And I think it's going to be the same for a lot of people. Small man Maguire taking captaincy for a few minutes, says Majak. No, you know what? I don't... I know some people in life, when somebody's at rock bottom, they want to kick them. I'm not really like that, to be honest with you. The Maguire thing for me, I actually feel sorry for him. He's always had a bit of a sad face, and watching him come on last night, you can just see that he's gone from being this player who had a lot of power and was being picked every week, whether he deserved it or not. He's probably one of the first names on the team sheet. Even under Rangnick, he was. Rangnick was picking him. Let's not forget, it wasn't just Ollie. Rangnick was picking him as well. He's gone from being a player that was one of the first names on the team sheet, rightly or wrongly, to he can't get in that team. He can't get in that team. And, I do feel bad for him because I think, it's not nice for anybody in that situation. But it's only what many of us have been talking about for a long time. You listen to these pundits, experts going on about how good he is. We watch Man United every day. We consume Man United every day. We watch every minute. We analyse. If there was a good player there, like, look at Sancho. Probably didn't have a great first year, but no one was like, oh, he's rubbish, because there's a good player in there. But with Maguire, it's like his weaknesses are a problem. Like, he will always, and Lindelof's the same, they will always get exposed by a certain type of team. You can't train that. It's just, unless we're going to play, I'm sure Harry Maguire will play really well for England, and it'll be great for him to have a positive boost with a manager and a team that, he suits. But we're not going to play a back five with a deep line. He doesn't suit Manchester United, and I can't see him ever suiting Manchester United. So I said it last night. Malacia, Martinez, Varane and Dalot have proven over 5 games with 5 wins and only 2 goals conceded that they are a really good back five. With De Gea, back five, but I'm talking about the back four. They're really good. If they make a mistake against Man City and we get beat 4-0, you don't change your back four. They've earned the right to have a bad game and stay in the team, which is exactly what Ollie and Rangnick used to do with Maguire. He'd have a bad game and he'd play next week. That back four, they've got money in the bank. They're not in a position now where they have one bad game and Luke Shaw comes in for Malacia, or Wan-Bissaka comes in for Dalot, or Maguire comes in for Varane. They have earned over the last month the right to be our first choice centre-backs for the foreseeable future. The only way you're getting in if you're Luke Shaw or Lindelof or Maguire or Wan-Bissaka is through injury. That is going to have to be something that Lindelof and Maguire and Shaw have to deal with, because quite rightly, our defence gives me confidence for the first time in probably 10 years. That defence is really good. And people say, well, it's only Sheriff. Oh, yeah, but it wasn't only Arsenal at Old Trafford, and it wasn't only Liverpool at Old Trafford. And, Southampton and Leicester, they gave us a game as well. Casemiro and Ronnie will get much needed match fitness for Brazil and Portugal, but I'm worried Varane will get injured for France. And Daniel, you've just hit my head. Not hit my head. You've just hit the nail on the head. Yeah, I've just said it there. The way back for someone like Maguire or Luke Shaw is injury. And injury can happen at any point, and they're back in the team. And you know what? The minute Maguire or Lindelof come in at centre-back, it ain't the same, because they don't have the traits and they don't have the skill set of Varane and Martinez, who can be left on their own. Effectively, if you look at Timber and Martinez at Ajax, and you look at United last night at times, you're not playing a back four. You're playing a back two. You're playing a back two with your fullbacks getting forward, inverted or outside, however the fullbacks do it, but they go forward. Can you leave Maguire and Lindelof on their own? God, no. No. So you can't leave Martinez and Maguire on their own, because Maguire is going to struggle. And you can't leave Varane and Lindelof on their own, because Lindelof's going to struggle. So this is why we need to go into the transfer market and get another centre-back, because we're one injury away. We're one injury away in a lot of that team, but we're one injury away at the back, where, especially at centre-back, where we're back where we were last season with centre-backs that really can be exposed. But we're an Eriksen injury away as well. Eriksen was really good again last night, and Eriksen's the only player that can play out, can link the play from midfield to attack, which is why Donny's so important. And I'm not saying he's going to work, but he does have an opportunity to work. In fact, I'm probably going to do a video on Donny at some point, because I think it's well worth doing. What else did I want to talk about? So, I wanted to speak about Casemiro. We spoke about Varane. We've spoken about that. Yes, the Telegraph, just talking about transfers for a moment, the Telegraph have said that Liverpool are favourites to get Jude Bellingham. I wouldn't be too worried about this, because we've heard this quite a few times now. Yeah, we've heard this a few times now that Liverpool fans are very confident that they're going to get Bellingham, by the way. So, look, it's only a story in the news. It's the middle of September. Jude Bellingham's going to leave next summer. Where he's going to go, if we win the league, he'll come to Man United. We're not going to win the league, but you know what I mean? Like, Liverpool might not be in the top four. We might be in the top four and get, win the Europa League, push City for the title. Who knows what's going to happen? You can't sit there and say that Bellingham's decided to go to Liverpool in the middle of September. Liverpool can be the favourites for Bellingham now. Doesn't mean he's not going to go to Real Madrid or Man City in the summer. So look, Jude Bellingham, I don't even think we should be talking about Jude Bellingham. We've just come off the back of our worst ever Premier League season. We haven't won the title in a decade. We've not won a trophy in 5 years. And we're starting a rebuild under a new manager. I think it's a little bit arrogant to think that we could go and get one of the best up-and-coming midfielders in the world. If we can do it, great. But we need to... It's the same as the De Jong thing. We need to actually, fix the house before we start going out in a suit and a Ferrari. We've got to sort out the structure of the club first. Conspiracy is the captain in Maguire contract. Reason for asking is saw him take the armband again last night, says Franco. Look, the captain, I commented it on last night. Maybe Bruno took the armband off and gave it him. I would personally, and I've played football, not at that level, but it doesn't really matter how many people are watching. I've played football, and if I was the captain on the bench and I came on, I would be embarrassed to take the captaincy off somebody who's won the game for 89 minutes. But, maybe Bruno just went straight away. There you go, there's the captaincy. I don't know. It can't be in his contract because he wasn't captain when he signed for Manchester United. So it can't be anything like that. Mark, I think you're getting carried away with the victory. Yes, your defence is good, but your football is as boring as Spurs. It's not the United away and it's not sustainable. We are playing great football on top of the league, says Zane. Zane, 3-1. Your last Premier League game, what was the score? Who was it against? 3-1. You're just coming across as bitter. You're playing hypothetical football again. We beat you. See you at the Emirates. There was a moment when Martinez looked at Shaw and said, what are you doing here? Get up the pitch. Just goes to show how much cover Maguire needed, says Suradi. Yeah, and that was something I didn't talk about there. If you think about United under Solskjaer, it was a back four with the fullbacks very close. What did we used to call them? Harry the Hoover and Victor the Vacuum, because they sucked everyone close to them. Wan-Bissaka and Shaw and McTominay and Fred. It was a back six. So yeah, you're not wrong on that. Talking about Martinez though, we absolutely love what he's doing for Manchester United at the moment, as I'm sure many of us have said before. As you can see, I'm wearing some United Stand merch here. You can get yours from United Stand Shopify, but just to give you a little bit of a show of what we've got, this is the website on United Stand Shopify. We've got t-shirts, we've got hoodies, we've got all sorts. What's view all? There we go. Does that show up on your screen? Yeah, it does. Loads of stuff you can get delivered to your door worldwide. Lovely designs. And this is the one that I like. I haven't got mine yet, but it's on its way. Butcher. He tweeted last night, and I put a picture of, if you've seen the film Gangs of New York with Leonardo DiCaprio and Daniel Day-Lewis. He's the butcher in that. I don't know whether many people got it or not, but yes, you can get those. Actually, we've put the link in the description as well. Get your United Stand merch here. Links in the description there for you as well. So if you want to get something like that, links in the video description. What else did I want to talk about? Zane, calm down. Our defence is better. We know we need to work on other areas of the pitch. You still got beat, bud. Thanks for the donation, says Butterpants. Who was the person? Can you remember, Zane always comes in. Zane always comes in, doesn't he? And there used to be somebody in the chat. I can't remember who it was. And they'd have a back and forth with Zane, and I can't remember the name of the person. I feel really bad. I don't know whether anyone in the chat can remember. There used to be somebody in our chat who'd come in and they'd do super chats, and they'd go back and try and wind Zane up. And I can't remember who it was. Anyway, there we go. We're in a rebuild as well. A very good point from Fat Tony's Mafia. Arsenal's rebuild is nearly 3 years ahead of ours. So, I don't disagree with Zane that Arsenal are further ahead than Manchester United. I crave the day where we can take the piss out of Liverpool fans and Man City fans and Arsenal fans, but we've just come off the worst Premier League season we've ever had. We didn't even get 60 points. You've got away fans singing "You're not fit to wear" to the shirt to United players. Away fans who will sing David Moyes' name, the game before he sacked. Ridiculously loyal fans, and that's how bad things were last year. The club was on its knees, and we're doing all right. We're doing all right, but we're not the Ten Hag team yet. You can see we're visibly not the Ten Hag team yet. And the best thing about that team is the defence. That defence is probably the best defence in the Premier League at the moment. It's not the best midfield and it's not the best attack, but we've got the best defence, and we've conceded 2 goals in 5 games, and that defence is giving us the platform to get results. We lost our first 2 games and we conceded 6 goals. We've conceded 2 in our last 5. This team is, with that defence, this team is doing a great job, and that defence is doing a fantastic job, and we are a work in progress. So, beating Arsenal a couple of weeks ago was a really good result for us, because they're a lot further down the line than we are. Where can I get Frankie Comes to Manchester t-shirts as a digit? Yeah, we didn't do the print on that one. We didn't. Can I just remind you that tonight at 8 o'clock, it's the 8 o'clock show. Friday night show. Always love the Friday night show. I'm going to be giving out some memberships, basically, so tune in for that. But I like the Friday night show. Bit of a Q&A, bit of a relaxed mood, so tune in at 8 o'clock tonight. We've also got a 2 o'clock video coming for you, and we'll react to anything if it happens. But coming out at about 11 o'clock, it'll be out in 20 minutes, the new United Stand Members Club video about De Gea, with Henderson and Edison and Alisson. You're going to be really interested about the improvement in De Gea in 2 months, and if we can keep improving it, it's very, very good and positive signs there. So check it out. If you want to become a member, click the Members Club button. There's a join button, or you can do it through the live chat. If you are a member, you'll get to see it in 20 minutes. And Danish says, I feel Shaw can be a great asset for Erik Ten Hag's system, considering how good Shaw is with the ball. May not be good with the overlaps. What do you think, Mark? I'm a big fan of Luke Shaw. I can acknowledge that his form over the last year has been terrible, but some people think Luke Shaw's just trash anyway. He's not. He was brilliant going into the Euros and that season before. And yeah, something's just gone wrong with Luke Shaw. I almost feel with Luke Shaw, it's and we don't always take account of this, the happiness of the player. I feel like, I've spoken to players, I've spoken to ex-players, and they have said to me, and it's open out there, that at times in their career they fell out of love with football. Now, I'm not saying that Luke Shaw's fell out of love with football, but there's something not right with Luke Shaw, and that's why I keep saying whether he'll sign a new contract, because it was a horrible, it must have been a horrible time for a lot of players last year. It was toxic, and a lot of players suffered last year. There's only really De Gea and Ronaldo who had the mentality to come through it in a very toxic environment. So you can you can understand, well, you can't understand, but you can see why we had bad performances last year. It still puts a big smile on my face when I remember your direct debit football and power shower football comments, Mark, says Glenn. Yes, against Arsenal, we need them back. Luke Shaw just has trouble getting consistency because of injuries. He's extremely talented, says Butterpants. Right, okay, look, really enjoyed the show this morning. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Don't forget the live show at 8 o'clock tonight. It's going to be a banger. Get your questions ready for that, and make sure you subscribe and smash a like on the video. If you want to get your merch, the link's in the description, and if you want to watch the members video, click the join button. I'll speak to you all in a bit. Take care, and thanks everyone for tuning in this morning. Speak to you in a bit.